Hi, this is Dr. Topper, Global Pharmacovigilance Director at Oracle Health Science Consulting. In this video, we'll talk about the case processing role of the workflow steps that I described before. So in the case workflow, in the case processing workflow, what you want to do is you want to take what's on the source document and create a clinical chronological narrative from it. So the key term is a narrative. Now, many databases already have auto narratives, but they're a little clunky. They're more like placeholders. They're meant to be that, oh, if you forgot to write the narrative on the case and the case is set up to be sent, you can send a case. It won't be your best representation of the case, but certainly it won't be an incomplete case. So that's really the role of the out-of-box narratives. They're bookmark fields that you put in. What can you do without any tools? Well, there's very little you can actually do except to have a learned knowledge of how to go about building your case. So those are the internal templates that you use on how you want to construct cases and where you want to put the patient demographic data, how you want to start the date received of the case, how you want to handle follow-ups in the narrative. You know, those are the things that PV operation heads have already dealt with, and those are age-old. Really, there's not a lot you can do without an automation tool. So the automation tool that you could bring in to help you with gaining efficiencies is an auto narrative, but an auto narrative with an intelligent basis. So instead of having bookmark drop-ins and then having large spaces that must be edited out, there's an intelligence behind the scenes that says, do I have in this field a delta change? Meaning, has it changed from one aspect? It could be an age, it could be the initials of the patient, for instance. Has that changed on the follow-up? And so I must report on the follow-up something about what has changed. So I have to preface it that the initials of the patient have changed from X to Y. And that would be an intelligent narrative, because not all the time you would utilize that same sentence. That sentence would only be utilized if it's in that context. So these intelligent narratives are drawing upon typical if-then statements, and that is simply boiling down the computing to a level which can be understood. It's certainly not that simplistic, but if you think of an if-then statement, if this occurs, then I must place this statement and then drop in this data point. If this does not occur, then I should hold off and go to the next if-then statement. So you have multiple branches of these if-then statements housed within your programming language that tells this intelligent auto narrative when to deposit what. And so it becomes very close to how you would write a narrative, in that chronology, in that rationale of which term to place when. So you can have then some efficiencies gained back, because think of your non-serious or your mature cases. You certainly don't want to spend a lot of time on them. It would be very nice to have this auto narrative that allows you to step away and then just simply check the final narrative, do a scan through, a read through, and do very minor editorials if you so choose. Of course, you can go back into iterations of this and create a better auto narrative experience. This is Dr. Topper, Oracle Health Science Consulting. Do join me for the next installment in this series.